Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back on my website, and I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to react to my own performance after a litany, an absolute litany of requests from people saying, how do you prepare to sit in with a band you've never played before and play a cover song in front of an audience? What were you thinking? And can you tell us, when you watch the video, what do you see from the band and your own playing? And I figured, you know what? This is actually a really good teaching experience, because this is something I have a lot of experience in. I don't claim to be the best guitar player in the world, but I certainly have sat in with tons of bands doing tons of covers, 1,000 of them, right? So there's a lot to talk about in here. I went and sat in with the amazing Humphreys McGee, and we did an old Who song, Eminence Front. Basically, I asked to do a cover song. I just learned Eminence Front, did a react to it like a month before. I went and searched on there, saw that they did one with Jimmy Herring, and so there was a version up there. So this is always what you want to do when you sit in with a band. You want to, one, you guys know this, learn the original. Two, learn how the original artist played it live. And three, check out a good band that is similar to your band, if you're trying to figure out different pieces and arrangements, and how they play it live. And then you take all that information, and so all the different parts, the key, the arrangement from the record, how the band may have altered it, and then how the cover band plays it. Because here's one thing that anybody that's done a lot of cover gigs knows, and that's, I don't care who you are, every band covers famous songs a little bit wrong and a little bit different than everybody else. Sometimes they play parts that aren't in there, sometimes they don't play parts that are in there. And so you want to come with a toolkit knowing you are entering their world. So you need to be prepared with all the different parts in any directions they gave you to jump into their world, not to come up there and expect to play what you've been practicing and be upset or surprised if they don't do it that way, right? Key mental thing. So they gave me no charts. There was no rehearsal. They just said we do it in E. The original thing is in F, okay? So I know I have this. I got the, that. So E to C, right? And then there's that keyboard part. Right? There's that little part. And then there is these little hits. But it doesn't do the third. And so those are the elements that have to be in there. I don't know how many verses they're going to do. I don't know how long the solo is going to go. The one other thing that I know to look out for is that this song, when it comes back, I'll point it out in the video, when it comes back into the verse, it doesn't finish that 4 bars after the chorus. It hits right on 3. And so I'm going to talk you through exactly what happens in here. So he's firing up the keyboard track, and notice the tempo is increasing. They're looking around, getting the spot they want. That's something, you never know what tempo people are going to play it. It's different night for night. You got to be prepared. So I'm watching the band intently. You'll notice throughout this performance, I really don't look at the audience, because I'm absolutely laser focused, eyes and ears on the band. So now here's a cool thing that happens. So you never know what they're going to do. Is there an intro or whatever? And who's going to start it? We know we're in E minor, and then when it goes to C, you can still stay with E minor, or you can do C major, but that B to C thing is where you're going to get that C major 7th to get that float. Jake comes right in with a note, and I just decided to match it. The band, because they're listening, immediately acknowledges that. They look over and realize we're going to vamp for a little bit, and Jake and I engage each other. Bayless is tuning, staying out of the way. All right, so now right here, you hear me mimic this keyboard part, this, to kind of signal that I'm ready to go to the next part whenever they are. But I realize immediately that the rhythm is off and it doesn't mesh. But Chris picks up on it, and even though I bail on that, the message gets sent and he brings it in because we're all waiting for the drums. Now, immediately my thought is, because I watched the other video where they played with Herring, that none of the 3 guitar players were doing this, that little keyboard part that you hear the Who do live, right? That's one of the live elements that really, really stands out. So I come in to do that and quickly realize it's creating a conflict, and I immediately abandon the plans, and I go to the riff to try to make one singular big thick sound. Like, watch it. I come in with it, and I'm just like, you know what? That's just, no, it's not happening today. Immediately cancel the plans. Now what happens here is Jake gives me the nod and he says, you do the intro lead. Now because I was on clean to do this little part, I started to come in with the clean because I didn't know if it would sound right, because he was still, very, very clean. And as soon as I hit it, I realized it wasn't going to have the muscle for this band, right? And so I had to go click my channel and say, we're going to be dirty from here on out. And there I got my one mistake out of the way. Anybody that knows that whenever you get your nerves or whatever, you just got to hit the one note to start, and then as soon as you hit your one mistake, you know you're past it. So that was me, and I just did it there, and from here on out, I just settled in and made a point to listen to the band and not overplay. Just be all groove. So watch it again. Clean. Click it. Just sing. No mistake. So what I tried to do there is start low, go to a middle spot, go high, create something where the ear follows, not be licky, not be flashy. Just get out of the first lead, go down, come back up, make sure the band knows that I'm not gonna screw this up. And look at Bayless, like look at his face. He knows, he finally realized, he's like, okay, he's not gonna screw this up. Because you have to remember, no one's seen me play before. He's seen me play on the computer, but not in person. There's not like a plethora of live videos of me playing with good audio. Like, they're taking a serious chance letting someone they've only seen on the internet on a stage with them, right? And so, got the mistake out of the way, figured the parts out, where I'm gonna fit into it, got through the first little lead, band feels at ease, and now we just sail. Now we just sail and enjoy the ride. The now, this is one thing I do a lot. I noticed that none of the other guitar players were really putting that low C in the bass. That you're getting that, but not this, and doing that little dyad. And so I started to try to thicken up the low end by you know, to make it super crunchy, because I know these guys have a metal background, and I know that they would be totally fine with it getting it crunchy. And that's like something I'm good at. That's what I love. And so I knew it would work, especially with that tone. So we just did it. Spray will flies, speedboat flies, people forget. Jake with the left foot setup. People forget. All right, so you notice what happened there. I didn't know if they were going to do that. They didn't know if I was going to make it. So they all look around, make sure you get the eye contact, drop together. See, Stasik looks around and Chrissy's like, is this it? Is this it? Bayless hasn't left eye contact with Jake the whole time, following him completely. Looks at me, he's like, yeah. Bayless is feeling. Bye. So here is an interesting thing that happened. So after the gig, I talked to Chris on the drums, and he was like, "Yeah, you knew the song about as good or better than we did. I almost missed that first drop." And I looked over and you were giving me eye contact. And so this is the point where I'm talking about. We're like, are they, when they come back into when they come back into that, after that first chorus, it just is 3/3. It doesn't finish that full bar. It's got that jump to it. And so I am not at all interested in playing it if they don't, right? I am interested in following them wherever they go. And so at this point, because we can recover, like the drums are the foundation, I'm locked in completely and entirely on Chris to make sure that if he is or is not going to that part, I'm with him, because I'm assuming the rest of the band, because they play together forever, will also be with him, even without looking. And he's going around and he sees me, and we drop and get it together. I'm on him. He's looking. Jake is so good. It's so great to play with people like this. All right, so for the lead, so we come out, and I'm just anticipating playing the lead. It's not discussed. I just was going to play a couple licks, and if you notice, sometimes Jake jumps in, and sometimes I do. We're listening intently. So he hits a couple, but then I take over because that happens sometimes, and I choose to come in with this 4 to the 5, catch on the flat 7. To make my focus on that minor third, on that G. And I click my wah-wah on at the next point, and all I'm playing is the MT15 with the wah-wah, right? And a little bit of reverb. And I just keep it same thing, just straight down the middle, singing, searing notes, try to be in control as possible, right? So I come up, I'm right-footed, like Jake does his wah left, step on it, and then go right to that B, and then just slowly let the gate come open and let the vibrato shake. And I'm trying the whole time to keep the vibrato like match the intensity of the band. I'm trying to feel what's on the stage. I'm not trying to dictate my own pace, okay? I'm just letting the channel come more and more open over time. And that little flick back there, that's just like, it's like one of my favorite things to do. Is a la Derek Trucks, just to get a little right? And then I'm just gonna grab some bends in E minor. And Jake's watching me intently, and as soon as he realizes that I'm gonna let notes ring out, he jumps in with the harmony. So he puts on a little more gain on his end, and now it's a dance of who moves first, and are we going up or down, and with what type of touch. So I let it sing first, and so he let it sing, and then I went 1, 2, 3. Then he comes straight down, does 1, 2, 3. What's more like butta 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 da da? It's Jake, right? And now we're trying to lock in. So I start with the butta da, and he matches butta da. Now he expects right here for it to continue to keep going down. Expects the wrong word. He's ready for it, okay? It could keep going down, you know, I acknowledge that. But I choose to let it sing because I don't know how far they're, you know, willing to take this and where they want it to go. And immediately dump into this dominant thing, 5 and a flat 7, to let them know that I'm not going to solo all day and that we can get out of this thing, because that's what you do.
Come and join the party, dressed to kill. Won't you come and join the party, dressed to kill.
And that's the one little bit of nastiness that I saved. I had to get one in there. That little, you know, that little, just a straight little moving down 1 fret at a time, keeping that minor third, just diminished little thing. Because I didn't know if they were definitely going to go to that 5 there, but I knew if I just started going down there, I could end up in either place because I'm doing a filthy run that really doesn't have a harmonic value. It's just like filthy, right? And so you got to always squeeze 1 or 2 of those in there. Works dirty, it works clean. It's like just one of my favorite moves. And no one really ever expects it because it's low filth. You know, it's not the high filth. And there's another thing that I like to do a lot, especially when you're playing with a lot of people, is if everybody, so Jake is here on this beat. You can clearly see Bayless is up in this position right here, right? And so what I want to do is I want to avoid those roots entirely, and I want to try to pick something out of the way of that. So I start here, and as soon as I acknowledge that they're not going to move, I go to first inversion, bring out that major third, and then to keep the cascade going, jump up to my fifth and major third, again, making it overwhelmingly major to really push back to home, and it really stays out of their way. You wouldn't notice it, but that's kind of why you wanted to see this video. You wanted to see what I'm thinking, so check it out. Building. And so there, they may have ended it, right? That was a flub, right? That happens. So now, because I don't know how much or how little they're going to do, just to change the vibe a little bit, I take my hands off for at least a second and look around, because I just feel like the vibe has to change. You know, just sometimes you have to reset when you find yourself, you're in the moment, and then you realize you're thinking, you're like, no, I got to stop thinking. I got to take my hands off for a second and just listen. That's what happens here. Let the feedback ring out, change the vibe. Fifth in the bass. Let Jake take it. See now, so Bayless hears it, and Bayless takes over puts a little squeal in there because he knows Jake is going to do his clean lead thing, and I'm just letting the heavy guitars ring out and sustain, you know, like big, you know, fifth in the bass, like metal kind of inversions, and leaning towards the amplifier, pulling my palm off just enough to let it start to sustain, and then when I feel like, you know, we've reached the breaking point, I bring it back in and I reapply, hit that pulse. That's what I'm thinking in here. You know, so watch. And notice that it creates a good balance. There's three guitars doing three different things with different sounds, like different tonality. Bayless is on. God, makes that so perfect. Yeah, I'm looking around like, how far are we gonna go? And now it's the low. So I know we're going to the end here. So for each one, I'm doing what I did before on that B, that trying to show that, you know, I realize that we're escalating to the point that we pop, right? And so when we get to the C here, right? And doing all these little things that have been saved for the end, right? So we're going all the way up, and then it's over, right? We're ending on top. So I'm just escalating each one of those, and they are staying in their spots, allowing me the breathing room to do so. Whether or not they heard me do it before, or they were hoping I would, or it happened by accident, the whole song, the three guitars were playing in different positions with different tones, doing different things, making different sounds, and it went back and forth. That's the goal. That's the goal. If you hear whatever it is, you adapt. You don't try to double, right? And so this just worked out great. They're just so easy to play with. Just an amazing group.
Having its fun.
didn't know he could do the verse.
just to kill.
And there, we didn't know who was going to do it. Jake just took it. He's like, no. I'm going to steer us out.
Just to kill.
Try to finish with a similar tag.
Just to kill.
Yeah, and you just end with the hits. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is, oh, excuse me. That is how I approach sitting in with a band, doing a famous song. If you sit in with a band playing their song, an original, you know exactly how they're going to play it, right? Because you can listen to them playing on the record and then them covering it, and you can try to figure out a new spot that may or may not exist. But when you play a famous song, it's very different because, again, every band covers it a little bit wrong, a little bit different, and they might stretch it out. They might do more verses or choruses. They might do whatever. So the point is, take the things you learned from the record, from the original artist who covered it, and from the band or a band similar to you're going to play in and how they would do it. Take all those tools to the gig, right? And just know that you're entering their world, and being nimble and present and listening is the most important thing. The worst thing you can do is say, I'm going to set my sound like this. I'm going to do this part at this time, and this is how it's done correctly on the song. No, it's not what you do. You enter their world and try to be a cohesive unit and add just a sprinkle of yourself in there, but make them feel extremely comfortable, and just enjoy it. You know, the jitters are going to go away as soon as you get your first bad note out of the way. Make eye contact, listen intently, and enjoy the ride. And that is it. Thank you all so much. Thank you all for watching and all of that. If you like the way I play and teach and you're interested into a whole curriculum from beginning to start, or from start to finish, it's all on GuitarGate. It's been my life's work. It is literally a combination of being a student, being a teacher, and being a player. And it's all those put together, and it's practical, just like you saw this practical application of music theory. I love you all. Cheers. Can't wait to do it again.